Hello there, Internet. Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to a late, very late, unfortunately, Vermintide stream. One of the Hermit Gamers' famous Vermintide streams. Everyone knows me, you know how it is. Anyway, sometimes I do wish I could just stop. I've been reading way too much about this game's internal systems to try and figure out what the hell is going on, why the game changes so radically when I just change my frame rate. I think I do fully understand it now. As in, like, I've always fully understood the effect it has on gameplay. Anyway, hold on. You know what? Let's do this thing. All right.
Let the games begin.
Yes, these production values. You love it. I know. Everyone loves it. Now let's grab Les Salts file. Oh, snipe. And then so a friend of mine is trying to do yeah, so basically someone who I introduced to the game who is very new to the game is struggling with Righteous Stand right now on a certain difficulty, so I just want to kind of like show them how the map works, and this will just be like a quick Legend with Bots warm-up game. We are at 120 FPS, so you know the rats are actually like going to move and stuff, which is good. Like I want to play at 120 FPS. You should be able to see my FPS, so there's no cheekiness. There's no, you know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say I'm playing one way and then play it on potato way, because this game is potato at 60 FPS. It just is. Like, I'm sorry, it's still a hard game. Don't get me wrong. Like Cataclysm with solo with bots is still hard. Legend True Solo is ball-breakingly hard, even at 30 FPS. Like, I mean, at 30 FPS, you're starting to get to the point where it's going to impact your gameplay, so, you know what I'm saying? There's probably ways to cheese it, like Flamestaff Sienna or something, where you don't actually need any mechanics. In fact, that's probably... Ah! Anyway. Righteous Stand. So, you want to just come... there's sometimes loot down here, but, you know, not now, because streamer curse. You always want to check around this corner. There's quite frequently a heal of some sort around this corner. But when you do come down this corridor, you can get a patrol that will eventually come down the same corridor. So you will want to avoid the patrol just because the corridor is so tight that, especially if it's a Chaos Patrol, like, it will just run you over. Anyway, there's more loot over here in this chest. A lot of people don't check this chest. There's more loot over here behind the pig, often. Not like it's a spot where loot can spawn, basically. Same here, like potions and stuff can spawn under this arch. And also loot can spawn very consistently, heals can spawn on this table. And you want to basically look for specials that are going to be spawning in, jumping in from all these like little arches and access points. But other than that, most of the enemies are going to come down this ramp. If a horde comes, the horde is going to come down this ramp. If you get a monster spawn, the monster is going to come down this ramp. They're going to come down this ramp and then file into this choke. You do not want to hold in this... if you hold in this choke, it's okay, but they will climb this wall. So basically, like, the way to hold the horde is just, like, in this choke here. And if you need to, just start walking backwards. Like, especially if you're not on, like, Cataclysm or something, you'll be fine. You should be able to actually just cut your way up these stairs. Going up the stairs can be a little bit dangerous, because specials can do stuff through those bars. So, like, a Blightstormer or Gas Rat or something can, like, blast you through those railings, and as you can see, additional horde waves can spawn behind you, so you can get pincered if you don't kill quickly enough. But, you know, unless you're in Cataclysm or something, you should be able to just, you know, chop through the horde on this ramp. There is often ammunition down here. There are often heals here. If you're really struggling, it can kind of be a trap to go down there. Like, you don't necessarily want to linger here, but there's also often loot over here, over there, and there's a chest. So this is more like you take one route or the other. Either go up the ramp or go this way. Up this ladder to come past this chest. So come this way or up the ramp. If there's no horde, I would tend to always come this way. Because then you can actually fight the horde in this choke. Which is a little bit dangerous, because sometimes enemies will get down there, and then if you have to run down the ladder, you know. But usually you can just kind of be here. There are ways to, I think, jump down here. I'm not very good at the actual parkour in this game, but I'm pretty sure there is a way to get down here. But as I say, so if you can get up that ladder before the horde spawns, that's good. I've obviously just been dicking around here, so we're getting another horde spawn, but that's okay. Basically, this ledge here can spawn a monster or a patrol when you go over it. Oh, okay. Where was the rot shield? Anyway, there's a chest here, and I'm just going to chop through, like, this is going to be a very scraggly horde. But, as I say, when you come into this horde, you can get a boss spawn. So, I would never come into this corridor then. Because if it's a spawn or something, or a rat ogre, you're not going to have space to fight it. So, if you do get a boss spawn, fight it in this courtyard. But if you can come up fast enough and get out into this courtyard, maybe fight it in this courtyard. It depends on the boss. Like, if it's a Storm Fiend or something that's going to come in very slowly, you might have time to run up into this courtyard. But this courtyard can also have a lot of elites in it, so you might not want to fight the boss here. If the boss spawns here. So basically, come up here, clear this courtyard. There can be potions along the side, or ammunition, or even heals. So it's worth clearing the ads. As you can see, a bomb, all sorts of good loot that will help you out. This event is actually, like, hard. This is genuinely one of the hard events in this game. So if you're losing at this event, don't feel bad. Mostly, this event will be harder at higher FPS, because a lot of what is going to mess you up is basically specials using these, like, the specials will spawn up top here, and they use these, like, battlements to, like, LOS you until they're ready to, if it's a Blightstormer, they'll cast from, like, a bajillion miles away, like, stand, like, through a tiny little crack in the wall or something, and they just destroy you. Because they can basically, they stop you from holding these side chokes. Like, they force you out of these side chokes and, like, into the open where you can get pounced by assassins and hooked and surrounded by elites and all this sort of stuff. But you also can't risk holding up there on the stairs, because if you get pushed back into this choke and the ladder, like, you know, and you can't take the lift, you basically just die. But you can kind of hold these stairs. You can do a little bit of, like, kiting around on the stairs if you can make enemies climb. But that only works if they sort of drip feed in. But yeah, you basically, you either hold the stairs or you hold one or the other sides here. But just understand that sometimes you're just going to get gas bombed, like, especially at high FPS. Like, and your bots are going to be running all over the map doing nonsense. Just hope they don't die, and don't die. Bots are very, very good at not dying. Especially, you know, if you give them shields and block cost reduction and stuff like that. But yeah, basically, you just want to, like, rotate around the edge here. Be careful of the corridor. Like, actually, I've gone past it, but be careful of this, because enemies spawn here. So typically, you want to be holding in front of the corridor. Because this gives you the best LOS of the specials that spawn on that side, while forcing the specials on that side to drop down to mess you up. The problem is that what happens is your bots run out into the open, and so the specials on that side get to just kind of drop down and flank them while you're dealing with trash. But like I said, the bots are very good at staying alive. If you don't die, and if you eventually like kill the dangerous shit for them, the bots are pretty good at staying alive. And when you hear the monks, you can leave, but basically just remember that everything you don't fight down here is going to have to be fought upstairs. It's going to Navmesh teleport upstairs. So that mid-event is an area where a lot of people get destroyed in Rajasthan, and this area is a place where a lot of people... I commonly play with people who like play this game regularly on Kata and stuff like that, and they get destroyed in this room. Because not only do you get fresh spawns here, but all the elites that you didn't kill downstairs now come through this hole. And if a horde spawns, most of the horde will spawn in this hole. I don't know that that was actually necessary, but it felt nice. So, I would actually hold downstairs at least until most of this wave is dead. Unless you're very confident of being able to, like, fight in chokes. Like, if you know what you're doing with, like, a shield or a greatsword or a coruscation staff or something like that, then you want everything to file into those, like, silly chokes. So the other tip I would give, just a general tip, not map-based, which I'm not really using, but it's to drink potions. Anyway, you will typically get a horde when you're down here, and one of the things I would say, especially for a new player, is actually to just wait in that room and kill the horde in that room. But if you can get roughly to this arch before the horde spawns, you'll be okay. If the horde spawns when you're running through this room, you are fucked. Because enemies drop down from the roof, CE here, so they spawn up top, especially specials and elites, and then they drop down on you. And they will pull aggro from ambience up top as well. It's not particularly hazardous here, but what happens is people run ahead when there's that initial like event wave that spawns and coming behind them. So that pinches them from behind, then horde spawns from here, and then stuff starts dropping down on top of them. That's basically what you want to try to avoid, because that will destroy you. And then, yeah, up here. This area is usually pretty safe. There can be potions on that table. There are pretty much always heals. In here, there is often loot here. Specials will climb over that fence, but I wouldn't. If you're not running on low FPS, you can't, because they have LOS checks. You can't just stand there and wait to kill them. They won't climb the fence if you're looking at them, basically. Not on high FPS. And it's very difficult to actually bait them in by kind of looking away, because they get regular FOV updates. Specials here will spawn behind you. They assassins in particular will spawn up top, so keep an eye out for that, especially the assassins. But yeah, things like warpfire throwers or rattlings following you here. And as you can hear, you can get a patrol which comes down from the top there. Now we're going to be YOLO and try to kill it because, you know. Ooh. Let's go. Iron Breaker bot, the People's King. Look at him go. Look at bloodthirsty little shit. I like him. Anyway, watch for enemies that are going to set stupid Fortnite traps for you when you come around corners like this. They love to just stand there and stab you in the ass when you come around the corner or bonk you on the back of the head. This is actually not a bad spot to play, to have a horde, but if you're new to the game, you're probably not going to be here quickly enough. So you want to hold it on the steps or in that room. But there's often a lot of elites in this courtyard. Usually you can actually be at the cannon before I'm kind of a horde behind because I spent so long wandering around the map. But typically you can be at the cannon before this horde spawns. But being here is not bad. Not bad. Like, it's not bad to get out of that room for the horde. But it's also not bad to be in that room for the horde. Like, there's lots of nice tight chokes. It's, you know, specials aren't coming at you from any particularly hideous places. In this area, specials will spawn on that ramp and on the ramp behind. So it's pretty predictable. And enemies also ultimately spawn from those two locations. So they're also from that ramp. Basically, the safest place to always be in Vermintide is as physically... So let's say these are spawn locations, these are spawn locations, these are spawn locations, okay? The safest place in Vermintide to be, always, is physically as far from the spawn location as possible. Because even on a brand new PC, there's just too many rats in need of too much complicated pathing data for everything to kind of move perfectly without there being any loss of density or stringiness or anything like that. If they're moving far enough. There's always a fire barrel here, which is nice. But yeah, you actually probably don't want to be pushing forward. So one of the things that gets people killed in Vermintide is doing what I'm doing right now. I'm doing it because this is kind of a slum difficulty for me with this setup, but this can get you killed, basically, running forward like this. So be aware of that. But you can get a boss trigger as well, coming through here. I think? Or it could be this door. I know, Righteous Stand is a pretty confusing map in terms of, like, drop-downs and trigger locations, because you have basically, like, 5 feet from the start of the map, you can literally get a rat ogre, but then you also have it can also trigger much later. Anyway, you can definitely trigger a boss or patrol here. Much more likely a patrol that's going to come across that like chasm. They jump across it. But what's much more likely is that you're going to get a horde somewhere along, like, somewhere from that door to this door. Like, that's probably where you're going to be in terms of, like, your pathing distance. And that's not a bad place to get a horde, because, as you can see, it's pretty open area. There's some chokes that you can hold. Like, if you can hold this door, specials can appear to the side, though. You need to watch for that. But yeah, because I can't, like, physically show you the boss triggers, the main thing I would just say is, like, when you're going through the map, any map, if you hear a horde, if you know there's a horde, don't keep running forward. find a good defensive position or even run a little bit backwards. So here we go. See, we got our boss spawn. I might actually be able to just ledge this guy. But yeah, there's often loot here at the base of the statue, sometimes on this table. There's a fire barrel here, which can be very helpful if you have Horde coming behind you in this choke. If you're quick enough, you can kind of get in front of them. But again, I wouldn't worry about that sort of stuff. Just if you hear Horde, stay where you are, kill the Horde before moving forward. Hordes have 2 or even 3 waves. So just because the first wave is gone doesn't mean you can start running forward. Because what's going to happen is like you're going to run forward into stuff like this while fighting the Horde, and then specials will spawn, and then you're going to be trying to deal with all 3 at once, which like for a new player, even on like veteran or champion, can be too much for you. I mean, even for me, on champion, if I just run through the map like an animal, I'll die. I'll die on champion maps if I just run through like an animal, because I still can't just like instantly jib a rat ogre. You know what I'm saying? Like just because I have a full build and lots of hours in this game doesn't mean I can just do like 10,000 damage and insta kill a champion rat ogre. They just don't die that fast. So they can physically just shove you into a corner and you're just hard CC'd and there's literally nothing you can do and nowhere you can go. Like, there's too much stuff in this game that basically either hard CCs you with a legitimate ability like an Assassin Pouncer or a Hook Rat, or with just its sheer hit mass. Like 6 Storm Vermin with shields, for example, can just sit on you in a corner and there's legitimately nothing you can do about it. Unless you have a flail. Or, you know, some kind of staff or something that ignores shields, but... anyway, the first wave down here is Storm Vermin. Specials will spawn in these... So specials will spawn up top, climb down here. Silent Hook Rat will get me, because I think we're in a... So my main advice is A, to stay in this area. Try not to get pushed to the back of the temple. And just always be watching for specials coming from these 2 angles, basically. A lot of the specials you can kind of just ignore. Until you kill the trash and then you deal with them. Like, try not to stand in gas. Fire rats you should probably kill. Ratlings definitely you want to kill as quickly as possible because they make your bots just stop playing the game. But gas is pretty safe to leave alive. It's not really going to kill lots of trash for you if you're at high FPS. And the visual obstruction is dangerous. But, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you have to do 3 or 4 things at once, like, something has to wait. Like, you can't kill 3 specials at the same time. But yeah, so the problem is if you start to get pushed back here, what happens is trash will just bonk and then specials will be spawning and you won't have any time to like snipe specials before the trash gets you. If you're standing around this area, you're as far from the spawn points as possible. So the odds that you will get a chance to like shoot a few specials or an elite or something before the Horde is on top of you taking away your space is at its best. And especially if you keep your eye out up here. And yeah, you can kind of... Sometimes your bots will just make space for you like this. This is mostly because of Sienna skeletons. But yeah, you get a Berserker wave towards the end, which can be dangerous. You might want to save a bomb or a speed potion or a strength potion or something for it. But... Berserkers, basically, if you have, like, If the Berserker is attacking you, block. If the Berserker is attacking someone else, kill it. At high FPS, that's not actually super easy to determine because enemies switch aggro very, very fast and rotate their hitbox basically instantly. So a Berserker can kind of just, especially when the game's intensity is peaking, Berserkers can just like 180 snap to you and like insta start flurrying you. And, you know, even though I have like no life FPS gamer reflexes, I can't get my block up fast enough to not eat at least some damage. And on Kata, some damage is like a quarter of your hit bar. Is, you know, like more than a quarter of your hit bar. But anyway, once this hammer starts glowing, you can actually just kind of start running away from stuff if you want. Because it will all die. And then you're done. But I did not do a very good exhibition of like how to use like resources like bombs and stuff like that. But basically just like, look. Okay, here's the thing with bombs and potions. People think of bombs and potions as a thing to do when it's like, oh, okay, the shit has fully hit the fan. We're in this total clutch moment. That's when I need to save my bomb, my potion. That is actually the single worst time to use your bomb and potion. Your bomb, because that's the one time when you won't have time. The point is to use them when you do have time to eliminate things efficiently so that you stay on top of problems. So let's just say, like, you know there's horde behind you, but you have to move forward or something, right? You have to just throw a firebomb and let it melt the horde behind you while you walk forward and kill some storm vermin. Or throw a normal bomb at those storm vermin so they just all get blown up and then turn around and kill the horde. Like, it's basically like, because a bomb or a potion is essentially giving you power to do more in a certain time frame, right? Or do certain things that you couldn't normally do. But generally speaking, basically what a potion is doing is just giving you a potion or a bomb is just giving you a certain amount of killing power that you would not have normally had. So you want to use that to stay on top of threats rather than use it to react to threats, because especially at high difficulty, especially at high FPS, this game goes too fast. You do not have time to pull out a potion during a fight and drink it. Like, you're 2 shots away from death, even to normal rats on high difficulties in this game at any one time. And enemies know. At high FPS, enemies poll the director about things like, is the player blocking? Do they have a melee weapon out? Like, they are actively seeking to get this data from the AI director at all times, because the AI director is essentially... so they have, like, it's kind of like it's like, they're like a robot, in the sense, like, you know, they're very, 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 very 100%. They are a robot, in the sense that they don't. There's no thought. Like, there's no simulated AI or anything like that. Okay, it's literally just a series of scripts in a tree where it's like, if this, then that. If that, then this. If that, then this. The problem is, the if that is information that they get from polling the AI director. They ask the AI director what is going on. The AI director is the only actual AI. It's the only thing that actually knows what is happening in the match. That knows whether that tracks the player's location, that tracks sources of damage, lingering DOTs, where everything spawns, the seeds for the spawns, where it can put new enemies, what type of enemies they are, what's doing damage, where the player's melee weapon arc is about to land. You know what I'm saying? It tracks everything. All right? It knows everything. It's the director. It's it's kind of like the godly figure that stands above and sees all. But its ability to communicate that information to the enemies is determined, completely throttled by your frame rate. It's literally frame dependent. It runs on an internal clock that ticks per frame rather than per, second. That's just a quirk of the engine. So the rats are always asking the director things that will modify their behavior and make them behave better and smarter and more effectively. But whether or not they get answers depends entirely on your CPU and your frame rate. So, this is what I'm saying. You can't just fuck around like at low FPS. Yeah, you probably can literally pull that potion out and just drink it in the middle of a fight without any rat realizing that you're not blocking. And if they weren't about to attack you anyway, they would just kind of let it happen. At high FPS, I wouldn't recommend it. But as I say, using things like bombs and potions to stay on top of problems rather than trying to react when you're starting to get overwhelmed, because that's the one moment when you're not going to be able to use it. But yeah, that's Righteous Stand. The other advice that I would give if you're really struggling is your bots are probably very underleveled. And they probably have low hero power weapons and stuff like that. And that affects them as much as it does you. So at the very least, I would say open some loot boxes for your bots and give them some like higher power gear. Prioritize things like shields. And try to roll stats on the shields like block cost reduction and extra stamina. For traits, you basically want opportunist on all the bots. And just give them skills and stuff like that are either going to help them stay alive or help you do damage and help make things safe by staggering stuff and so on. Because like bots don't really attack. Like bots. I'll try to show you like the way a bot will play the game. Like a bot plays the game like. Okay, so a bot in a horde will literally just be like this, and then like it will double push someone onto the ground, and then it will like perfectly track its head hitbox with like a heavy attack. But if it doesn't have time, but it needs the stamina to like do that double push to make the enemy completely like passive and safe, and then it needs like the time to do that heavy attack. And if it doesn't have either, it will kind of just like stand there and like maybe just kind of like push once, and then every now and then, if they have time, they'll do a full combo. They basically won't attack unless they can do some sort of full combo. Heavy attacks they will launch one at a time, but lights they basically won't. Unless the weapon can do a full combo. So you want to give them weapons where that full combo is very usable. So like Spear and Shield, look how wide these sweeps are. Like it has so much horde control and so on just on the light attacks. The bot will actually use a lot more attacks when it has this weapon. It's also I think Spear and Shield is a DLC weapon. But yeah, you want to give them simple weapons that have really good attack chains. Like another one that the bot is pretty good with is the one-handed mace. Because if you just like look at this basic attack pattern, it's just like nice high stagger, and the bot can like even if there's this horde rats that's a very safe attack for the bot to use. And also the heavies are very nice as well. And they will use the heavies and bonk a lot of elites and stuff like that. But again, so bots tend to give them like shields and one-handed weapons. You typically want to give them fast weapons that have like a lot of cleave and a lot of like wide sweeps and crowd control and stuff like that. And that will mean that they will use their weapons more. The other thing is you want to give them something like a handgun or a crossbow or whatever that is basically going to have like very high single target damage and try to give it traits that are going to make it do more damage very specifically to special enemies because one of the only useful thing the bots will do is help you pick specials if they have a gun that can one-shot them. So like things like Carillion's longbow, the Kruber handgun, the dwarf handgun, or Saltz's crossbow. That's not as good as the handgun, but yeah. So yeah, setting your bots up like that will definitely help. You might even need to take some time to level them if you're trying to do content like Champion and Legend. You may struggle with like fully underleveled bots. But if you carry enough, you'd probably be okay. But yeah, the main thing, as I say, is just like, don't rush through the map, but also don't so how I said at the start, right? You pick one path or the other. The only time that you would linger in that area to get all the loot would be like, let's say you start the match and you just like immediately get like a rat ogre spawn, and then like while you're fighting the rat ogre, a bunch of specials come, and then a horde comes, and you have this massive chaotic fight, and like you've kind of been forced to like use a bunch of resources from that like initial kind of loot path that you took. And then it's like, okay, well, I've already had the horde, we've already had the monster. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just quickly grab some extra loot while we're here, and then run up to the drop down. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only sort of time where you would like linger in an area like that. Otherwise, you tend to pick one loot path, which is usually just the main path. But there's a couple of areas where there's some options. But just pick one loot path, go through, grab what you can, and then keep pushing forward, killing the ambience as you go. And then, as I say, when you hear horde, stop, slow down. Don't let special enemies like stack up behind you. Stop, turn around, kill them. They're too dangerous. They're the most dangerous thing in the game. And as I say, yeah, don't even if you can kill the horde quickly, try to kind of hold space against the horde rather than...
I need a distraction, and you're just the fellows to make it for me. Ring out them bells, as me mother used to say. The bells in question are in Elmgart's Temple of Sigmar. Give them a good clatter, and you'll draw every iron blade...
Actually, hold on.
Why?
I'll try to do this on Katar. So, if I try to do this... So, one of the things that it's probably more interesting to see me struggle. It'll probably give you more, because like watching me just like destroy the map on Legend and kind of just ignore everything, because for me that's like a slum difficulty, is probably not very helpful to you because you're struggling on whatever difficulty you're playing. So if I play on a difficulty where I'm struggling, where I will struggle, you know what I'm saying? It might be more helpful to see, because actually what you're going to see is I'm probably going to die, but what we can then do is say, why did I die? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you die because, especially at high FPS on a modern CPU, sometimes you just die because the game literally just drops a cartoon anvil on your head. The game has the power to do that. It can be very smart and very evil. And it can actually just... It's not outplaying you, but it feels like the game is actually just outplaying you. Like, oh, this guy just jumps to like the one perfect spot in my crosshair where like I have to do a full 180, and then when I go to like 180 flick to him, some other random guy running attacks me and gives me like crosshair punch, and then boop, my shot misses, and then I get pounced, and then I die. Like, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like you're being outplayed. The kind of macro for the game is to try to avoid letting that happen in the first place. Like, try to avoid situations where that will happen. And that's all about, like, understanding map knowledge and intensity thresholds and blah, 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 which is super complicated. But the map knowledge side of it, you can kind of just boil it down to, like, basic maxims. Like, don't run forward too fast without killing anything. Try not to kill everything, like, instantly, especially massive elite packs. But, like, the thing is, when enemies have good pathing, you sort of have to, so, you know what I'm saying? You can't really just kite and fuck around with, like, 5 storm vermin. They will actually just run after you and attack you, and launch running attack after running attack after running attack, and, like... Okay.
That potion shall serve. This is the truth.
And that's what I'm talking about when I say Vermintide at high FPS is a completely different game. Specials actually know where your LOS is and very deliberately attack from outside it. You get absolutely destroyed by Blightstormers and gas in this game when you don't play it at potato settings. And I have played this enough time. I have almost 600 hours now playing this game at 120 FPS, and I have 1,000 hours playing it at a hard capped 60 because of the refresh rate of my monitor. Like, it's not even beginning to be the same game. Things that happen, like things that will mess you up, but that happen very rarely, especially in good positionings on 60 FPS, happen literally every single run, many times in every single run at 120 FPS. Like, again, it can't be argued. This is literally just the way the Stingray engine works. The game's ability to access CPU resources is completely and hopelessly bottlenecked at low FPS. Enemies are literally stupid and slow at 60 FPS. Noticeably stupid and slow. Still dangerous, they still do a lot of damage. They're still faster than you if they're chasing you. But in comparison to 120 FPS enemies, comically stupid, comically slow. And because of the way clamping and the enemy recycler system works in this game, you also basically just get fewer ads, and also ads take longer to like respawn out of seeds and various... It's super complicated and hard to explain, but basically, let me put this to you. At 60 FPS, the odds that you are going to like see something that's really dangerous and kite around a corner where like there should be an empty hallway or something, and then the hallway just randomly has 4 maulers in it, the odds that that happens are basically guaranteed at high FPS. It almost never happens at low FPS. At low FPS, basically, there are just physically fewer active entities can exist on your map at one time. So you're essentially killing enemies piecemeal. This is very, very dangerous on Kata, especially with specials. But I'm just sick of being there and getting shit on by Stormers and Gas Rats. So, yeah.
There's 2 gas rats. Somehow get to that corner. Hiding behind each other. Why is there just randomly a patrol worth of Chaos Warriors in this room? Oh, and now a horde. Oh, see how my enemies don't walk into fire like that? Particularly the elites. That bomb probably wasn't necessary, but... But yeah, as you can see, when you're playing on your actual difficulty level, the game is very much about, like, kind of sprinting from a safe spot to a safe spot, and then staying there and killing everything you can, you know, and then, like, killing everything and then moving forward. And events are, like, much more difficult. Like, you are going to lose this. If you're not, like, if you're new to the game, you're going to lose this, I don't know, could be 1,000 times before you succeed. Once you crank your difficulty up to something that's, like, you know, kind of, I don't know what you would say, like, at the, approaching the limit of what you can...
Take more care, Azumgi. They're no use to us dead. Chaos Warrior! To my side! Over here! Come on! You think they will stop me? The Chaos Warrior! Here, understand. We've a leak by the sound of it.
Oh, okay. This is a very, very bad place. We want to get up these stairs if possible. Thank you, Varden. I do that to save my bots, and they literally just leave me. And just wander off across the map to 3v1 a fucking special.
Make haste to me. The steps lead us on.
I'm out, ratties. I want something to burn.
Everything all right, Sienna? You seem a bit psychotic. Agitated is what I meant.
Insta-spawned.
Stay clear of that brute. The knoll is no easy foe. No, stand back. It's going to vomit. Bombardier down. That's a nasty wound, sir. A rot helm approaches. The fast blow is mine.
I was hoping to find some heals, otherwise we're probably just dead to troll puke.
This onslaught shall not overwhelm us. Get back, it's about to throw up.
So if you're wondering why this game is just comedy hard at 120 FPS compared to 60, I can literally explain it all, everything. It's all based on the internal systems. This game is so, like, look, it all worked when the game came out. That's the thing to remember. When this game came out, there basically were no PCs that got bottlenecked by FPS. Like, unless you're talking about, like, at 30 FPS on Kata, yeah, things kind of stop working. But they're talking about a PC that, like, so the devs always said the game gets easier. They say slightly easier. It's comically easier, by the way, on a bad PC. They were lying about that. It's massive. The difference is enormous. They also say that it doesn't get harder on a better PC. That literally doesn't even make sense. That's like saying, it doesn't, it's like if it goes down, where is it going down from? How, you know what I'm saying? If it's easier on a bad PC, how is it not harder on a good PC? That literally does not make sense. That's like saying wood is weaker than metal, but metal is not stronger than wood. It's like, no. That's literally like an infinitely recursive loop of nonsense. Anyway, so setting aside the fact that the devs just don't fucking know what they're talking about in terms of, like, basic human communication, okay? Like, just using words to mean what words mean. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. Like, it can't be easier on one thing and not be harder on the thing that it's not easier on. That's literally what easier means. Like, you know what I'm saying? The axiomatic fucking alternative to easy is hard. Like, or no. My guess is that they think, okay, so what it is on a good PC, it's normal. That's the difficulty we intended. And then the game can get slightly easier on a bad PC. That still doesn't mean it's not harder at the normal difficulty, by the way. That's what harder means. It's a relative state. But anyway, not an absolute value. That's why it's harder, not hard. But anyway, just talking about how language and human communication works. But setting that aside, okay, I realize I'm like giga ranting and I shouldn't be being mean to people that I don't even know, like some random ass fat shark dev who is probably some really nice Swedish person, and you know what I'm saying, has never just drives their Volvo around and I don't know, eats fermented shark, or I don't know what they do anyway. So, but probably really nice and cool person and a really smart programmer and you know, really good at making games, because Vermintide is a fucking work of genius. But the game definitely gets harder on a better PC. Now, part of that, as I say, is the game was legitimately bottlenecked at the time. At the time, it had bottlenecks built into its like just basic engine that weren't particularly relevant to PCs that existed at that time. Do you see what I'm saying here? We might actually go with... Footnight.
I need a distraction, and you're just the fellow.
But yeah,
Bring out them bells. As
basically, when this game came out, a PC couldn't really use
give 'em a good clatter, and you
120 frames worth of.
why you ask?
Okay, as I say, it's your game's AI director's ability to communicate with rats is determined by your frame rate, the speed at which the enemy recycler process operates, which is what moves enemies around on the map, is determined by your frame rate. The absolute clamp, the total number of active AI entities that can exist at any one time, is determined by your performance. And the game's ability to play around that number, which is incredibly important as far as, like, you know, are you going to turn a corner and find a mauler that immediately overheads you? At 120 FPS, that's normal. At 60, it doesn't happen. Even if the mauler is standing there, it takes like a full second and a half before he knows you exist and tries to attack you. You just have so much time to react to everything. So it's not just that the individual enemies are smarter and better and harder and more aggressive and faster in terms of their pathing and more evasive in terms of their movement, trying to get their crit boxes out of your path. It's not just that, it's not just that it actually fundamentally changes the gameplay loop by essentially removing enemy-friendly fire from the game as a factor. At 60 FPS, enemies don't have enough health pool to wait for the time it takes to poll the AI director to know that they're in fire or gas. So elites will die in fire and gas unless they're like Chaos Warriors or monsters or something with like massive health pools. And because enemy pathing data is not being updated, as quickly as it should be, they will also basically their old pathing data, which was walk to the player and attack, doesn't get updated. That actually, hold on a minute, there's gas. That update doesn't like. So that never actually gets updated before, like, basically an entire wave of trash has just walked into the gas and died. That does not happen at 120 FPS. The only thing that dies in the gas are the rats that basically... But also, gas rats are far more likely to just throw randomly and not hit you, because they don't have up-to-the-second polling information about your location. If you literally just move, gas rats miss you at 60 FPS, and then Horde runs into the gas and dies. Like, when I say that this makes the game so much easier, that it's like, it's genuinely like bordering on like criminal, that there are people who, present 60 FPS gameplay as if it were like, peak gameplay, is like genuinely comedy to me. Like, this game is a joke. Mechanically, the game still is very macro dependent because, pathing, kiting paths, all that sort of stuff. But like, I'm telling you, at 60 FPS, this game is a joke at 60 FPS. Like, it's still a hard game, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that like Kata is easy. You've literally seen me lose Kata runs at 60 FPS. But at the same time, I actually run through the map like a stupid animal at 60 FPS because the game is easy. The game is boring. There's nothing to kill. Like, I mean, when I say there's nothing to kill, I mean roughly the same number of enemies, but they basically just come at you a few at a time. There's no density, nothing like gets dumped on you, and then because you're not forced to kill at a high rate, you get fewer intensity spikes. Intensity spikes are the most dangerous thing that happens in Vermintide. In that room where the troll just instantly appeared, and then like 4 specials just kind of teleported into the room and instantly attacked, that's what's called a, like... This, right now, is an intensity peak. It's where everything happens at once. So intensity peaks last for a few seconds, and it's just a moment where the director dumps everything on you, where like enemies all just become like suicidally aggressive and attack at once. Please, please, for the love of fucking Christ, bots, please do something. Like, when was the last time you saw 6 Chaos Warriors spawn in this courtyard with Plague Monks? So the way you can tell intensity fades is that the game physically gets faster. Like your animation speed, you know when enemies just attack non-stop? Like it's just like, wait, when's my turn to attack? They're just like attack. That's during a high intensity incident. Their animation speeds are physically faster. Your animation speeds are physically faster, which means the game becomes more mechanically demanding. It's already more mechanically demanding at 120 FPS, by the way. And you get more intensity peaks because you're forced to kill more stuff. But the problem is that the game is boring without constant intensity peaks. Not dying during an intensity peak is the highest dopamine experience in Vermintide, and you get to experience it more at 120 FPS. It's just a fact. The game sucks at low FPS. It's just, once you tried the, 120 FPS, crazy crack, where, just everything goes mental and is constantly going mental, and the game is, genuinely trying to kill you and is smart, For one thing, it's the best aim trainer I've ever used. It's literally better than Kovacs because it's not boring and Kovacs is boring. So you will play this game and refine your mechanics and train your mechanics for hours and hours and hours where you might spend 10 minutes Kovacsing. This game will turn you into an aim freak in a PvP game. If you genuinely play this game, because even things like melee shots, I have to load my shot while looking up and then flick down to head high. Otherwise they move their heads. Rotbloods typically don't, but Skaven do. Especially elites. But yeah, as I say, we still have another Horde wave. Do I want to go back for that? Honestly, the bot kind of needs it, but the thing is, so many specials spawn on Kata that the odds that we will get down there and get it and get back and then make it back without taking more damage than it's worth are probably not that high. But yeah, the more intensity, so during an intensity peak, if you're assuming your PC can handle it, there is no spawn delay. Everything just gets instantly dumped on you. Like everything that the AI director can throw at you gets thrown at you instantly. So you get maximum density. If there are specials, all 5 come at once. So you do actually, the more intensity peaks you get, the more enemies you will actually kill. Even if your completion time is the same as another player. The game literally, ultimately ends up throwing more enemies at you. Because it's throwing more at a time, forcing you to kill them, giving you more space, giving it more space to spawn more. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like an infinite, like, conveyor belt. Also, Great Knight. Of course, he pounces from so close that it's literally unreactable.
Lightstormers dealt with.
Having a bot die actually makes the game easier. Oh, okay. Why? Yeah, no? There was literally nothing on her and nothing on me. She wouldn't save me because she wouldn't walk through a patch of fire. Like a tiny patch of fire. Also, there was no sound for that hook rat. But that actually, and that's the only bad thing about intensity peaks, and it's also one of the things that makes intensity peaks outrageously dangerous at high FPS. And yes, you will just be like, oh, I just got hooked. Oh, I just got pounced. Oh, there's just 3 gas globes on us. Oh, there's just 2 warp fire throwers just there firing at me. Like, they're just there. Oh, there's just a Rattling gunner just standing there. He's just shooting at me. Like, he wasn't there a second ago, now he is. That shit happens at high FPS. That's just how the game works, like, during intensity spikes. Because the game has the resources to just go bonk and just drop everything on you. But the game also deliberately, and this is design feature, not a bug, the game literally floods your audio channels with just generic noise. You're not supposed to be able to single out specific audio cues. You will not hear special enemies. And if no one sees them, if no one gets visual LOS on them, you will not get a character call out of the special enemies. So you literally will not know a special is there. This is a feature, not a bug. You can't argue with this anymore. Silent specials, I fully explain them. No one else explains them. People just like go, what, throw their hands up and say, oh, game's just being janky, funny game, spaghetti code. No, I actually tell you exactly what causes it. Exactly what causes it. It's very deliberate. You can just go read about all this stuff. It's on wikis, it's in Reddit threads, it's all over the internet. It's all there. It's not secret. No one's hiding it. You can even literally just ask Google about it. Like just say to Google things like, does your FPS limit your AI director's ability to draw on CPU resources? Just like literally ask Google that, and it will fucking lay it all out for you. Ask things like, tell me everything about the enemy recycler app or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been through this and then I've gone through all the Reddit threads and read everything, and I'm telling you, I've read all that. I've even looked at the source files and deliberately looked at things like how many enemies can spawn per frame. How many things can it do per frame? How many, the game is legitimately potato at low frame rates. Like in comparison to high frame rates on a modern CPU, it's not even a contest. And as I say, 90% of that has to do with, part of it has to do with the number of peak fades that you get, in the number of intensity peaks that you get, which literally means that you end up fighting more enemies. It has to do with the density of enemies, which is what is forcing you to go through so many intensity, because you're being forced to fight enemies that are all arriving at the same time rather than dripping in a few at a time. And again, this dripping in a few at a time, it is noticeable less density by just setting your FPS from 120 to 60. It is literally noticeable because the game does not have the resources anymore to path everything to you at the same time.
This will be no easy climb.
Do we have to go all the way to the temple? I can light a fire here. You'll see that for sure.
Bloody black rats! There's a storm vermin. Good shot, Rory. The warrior rats, I'll have it. Where'd you come from?
But yeah, so I mean, there is also that. If you're struggling with a map, just lower your FPS from 60 to, right through the skeleton.
Come here, black rat! Black one! That's right, incoming! Someone kill that stupid straggler! Heads up over there! Bastard! Bloody black rat! Oh, slap that black rat! Ah, no, you can't! The auto black! You hear that, mates? It's a gun. Go on! Again!
So, the rattling's dead.
Something in the shadows.
Can someone explain that?
The assassin's dead. There'll be more. Ah! Gun rat, get clear. Gun rat. Here, that's a storm bird. Come on, then, you blackbird bastard. Yeah, that rattling's done for.
She just said, "There, assassin," and I was instantly pounced. Oh, okay. Hello? I think we just died because of that. Teleports directly behind the Rat Ogre because he has an LOS check. So I have to side dodge and the Rat Ogre just gets to kill me. Twice in that match, I literally had my crosshair directly on something's head, pulled the trigger, and just nothing happened. Like, they weren't even staggered. Just literally nothing.
Listen, Alicia's got a good shot at gaining some proper information about the Skidder Gate. She's going into Helmgart, and so are you. Difference is, she'll be sneaky, and you'll be loud. Provide a distraction by ringing the bells at the Temple of Sigmar. Let's allow the old woman to work in peace, eh?
Don't know about you lot, but I'm feeling particularly distracting today.
I'm glad to pitch in. I don't fancy this tromp across the wall, though. Might get a bit blowy.
We'll get the job done, Dory. My beard, we will.
Chaos Warrior, work together.
Cheers!
Okay.
No, not coming. Good, mate. Fire rat's dead. Didn't feel a thing. About to throw it poison. Go on, hit me harder. Heal the boss up. Yeah. Take a swing. Yeah, double the luck of you. Rostov is dead on the ground.
You know what? Actually, you know what I should do?
Fright's about to throw. Don't try to stop me. Here, Dory. Ammunition. Come on, Dory. Buckler Scooby. It's a troll.
I was gonna say I hope that's a troll. I also hope my bots will let it walk out into this courtyard. It attacks me, of course.
It's a troll. Keep moving. Don't give it a chance to corner you. Assassin rag. That's a gas wax. Troll's about to fuse. Over here. I kiss my troll. Nice beastie. Ah, my grandmother hits harder than that.
But yeah, I was going to say about the only thing in this game that you can realistically trust as like a gauge of player skill, I would say, is in terms of like having consistent spawns that are the same for everyone would be Fortunes of War. The problem is that Fortunes of War is mostly about killing specials, and specials are extremely dumb at low FPS. So even Fortunes of War, like elite pathing is still going to be worse, horde pathing is still going to be worse. Enemies are still going to take longer to just like get to you in the arena, and they're going to have less density when they arrive, and also specials are going to be dumb. And I know this for a fact because like when I play with other people, like if I host, like if I end up in someone else's like hosted games, someone who I know for a fact is like not running at a particularly good, you know, they're playing at like 60 FPS. Like we literally end up doing like, you know, Cata D Twitch because everything else is boring. I mean, like with 4 people, it's literally the game is utterly boring at 60 FPS. Unless the people are complete potatoes playing on a difficulty that's like too much for them. Okay. Look at him literally running, like playing around my FOV. Oh, there's two of them in the same...
Sorcerer's out of it. Along with the head, Gordy. Bearing a path. There's a storm burning.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god, I'm dying because of the fucking muscle memory of my keybinds.
Over here. Easy pickings for you. On there, Glory. That's a leech of notice.
Anyway, let's go up because my stupid bot is stuck in elites. There are no fucking hostiles nearby again. Game, there are no fucking hostiles nearby. Oh my god. My game's legitimately just bugged and broken. It's literally just broken. Completely fucking broken.
There, gas rack. There, gas rack. Look out! Gas! Inspiring connection. You. Watch out then. Hold your body. Underwater ale. Right before a fight.
Okay, maybe I can use the lift now. Game, please.
Ammunition.
Are we fucking joking? So the one time I actually like do clear the fucking mid event and the game literally just bugs and won't let the lift go up. Yeah, we're just gonna stop. Like, fuck this game for that today. Like, I love this game. I love it. But, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no. No. When, like, all the bullshit that you have to put up with in this game to progress, especially when you're playing at high FPS, like the absolute bullshit that it throws at you, the amount of like chain CC into death, into this, into get crushed by 7 Chaos Bros. Oh wait, there's 5 Maulers behind me? I didn't realize, I thought that corridor was empty. I only just walked down it 7 seconds ago. Like the amount of bullshit the game drops on your head, and then for you to actually exceed it, and the game literally just says, you know what? I'm just gonna straight up cheat now. You just can't use the lift. Good fuck. Sorry. Start again. I couldn't kill you, so I'm actually just going to just straight up stop you progressing by breaking your ability to progress. Like, sorry, the level is just broken now. Start again. I'm just angry that my Blightstormers weren't able to like magically shit on you from outside of your LOS. Like, it's that simple. Also, Blightstormers. The actual Blightstormer Storm, by the way, makes LOS checks, which are FPS dependent. If you ever wonder why people seem like the GOAT player, where like, oh, how come this guy just gets to like a Blightstormer, like he just gets to walk away from the storm, and it chases enemies more than it chases it. That's just literally how they work at low FPS. Like, the storm itself is an enemy. The storm itself has AI. It makes LOS checks. It depends on the AI director for storms actually chase you at high FPS consistently. They change direction to come after you. They will corner you. They're supposed to corner you. Gas rats are supposed to corner you. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to throw it from outside LOS and deny you space. They're actually supposed to be an enemy unit, not an ally that helps you. It's only at low FPS that happens. Very specifically because enemies just don't care about friendly fire. They just die to their own shit. And then because they die to their own shit, and because that shit is less dangerous, like gas rats just randomly throw gas. Like they're throwing it where you were 3 seconds ago. Unless you just stand in one place. Blightstormers cast where you were 3 seconds ago. They stand in the open to cast. Like, you know what I'm saying? So even if by some chance, some magic, like even if just by some fluke, you don't like what the Blightstormer is doing, you just shoot him in the head. So if you just say, oh, this Blightstormer is not going to help me, well, I just kill him now for free. Because he's literally just standing in the open casting, and I had an audio call out because he's not LOSing me, so I know he's there, and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, it's just a completely mechanically different game. At 60 FPS, this game is mechanically boring. The problem is that at 120, at the fun difficulties, the game is starting to get so crushing from a macro standpoint that it actually throttles your ability to mechanically exceed the threats. Like, it will literally just, like, corner you with 15 armored, uncleavable elites, and then an assassin just pounces through their hitboxes and kill. Like, you know what I'm saying? It actually just corners you with completely unwinnable situations where nothing you do mechanically will help. Like, and the thing is that when you get peak fades like that, and okay, so here's what happens. When you get when your intensity peaks, basically everything on the map simultaneously tries to kill you, especially as a solo player because you're the only person there. Everything. They don't stop attacking. They don't stop charging at you. They will literally use their run animations to chase you and try to flank you and surround you. You have a thing called slot saturation. Enemies will literally teleport into the slots if they have enough AI resources, if it's possible using enemy recycler, blah, blah, blah. Enemies can literally just teleport, just explode into every single slot, combat slot around you. So it's like, you know, with those moments where like you're holding a choke and you're holding everything and everything's like under control, and then suddenly like 10 elites that should be getting perma staggered just explode through the choke and just delete you. That is what is called an intensity peak. Intensity peaks happen more at high FPS because the game forces you to kill more stuff because everything is more dangerous and everything attacks at once. Killing lots of enemies at once is what generates intensity. Now, when there is enough mass, enough just raw enemy mass during an intensity peak, like let's say there's 6 storm vermin, right, on Kata, they will just kill you. That's it. That's the end of it. Unless you're a shade or something and you can just, you know, go stealth and just blade out because the peak only lasts for about 6 seconds, especially if you're not killing stuff. They will just kill you because they just have enough hit mass and enough hit points to survive and damage trade with you and just take you down. That's the end of it. The only characters that even stand a chance of existing are things that like that have AoE that have stealth-based disengages, that have ways to like full hard CC them, but very likely if you're in intensity peak, you've probably been forced to jump your ult to make space because it's not just the 6 storm vermin. Like 3 specials will appear simultaneously and all attack at the same time. Like, so the game is basically, from a macro standpoint, the game is basically about making sure there isn't more stuff. There isn't like, but the game is basically about balancing the amount of aggro you pull with the amount of intensity you pull. So you don't have situations where there is enough stuff to kill you during an intensity peak. When I say kill you, I mean as in disregard your mechanics, crush you, break your block, just hit trade until you die. Like while suicidally charging you, no matter how much damage you output, no matter how consistently you headshot. If there's enough to do that during an intensity peak, you just die. That's the end of it. But but the odds that you can maybe survive, if it's 5 storm moment instead of 6, maybe you survive. And it's the most high dopamine experience in gaming if you can survive it. It's crushing if you don't. But as I say, most of the game is about that. It's about avoiding that. You cannot avoid that at high FPS. It's just unavoidable. There will be times where you are forced to kill stuff when there is more stuff, when there is an unsustainable amount of active enemies on your screen, so that if you get an intensity peak at that moment, there are also lots of spawn slots that the director can use instantly. So you will literally have specials teleport on top of you outside of your LOS behind horde enemies. I mean literally teleport and simultaneously attack you while every elite on the map, every active elite, hard paths, including using sprint animations to just charge, surround, occupy every slot, and then just attack you until you die. Like non-stop attack and damage trade until you die. You know this if you play this game. You know that this happens. You may not understand the systems behind it, but you felt it in your gameplay. I know you know this if you play this game. If you're not a potato person who doesn't play FPS and has no sense of like tempo and blah, blah, blah. You know this. This is just how the game works, right? But I'm explaining to you why it works like this, and I'm explaining to you the inner systems and the back-end systems that govern this. And I am telling you, and this is not fucking hyperbole, this is not a joke, go Google it yourself. Even Fat Shark devs have said it. Your AI director's resources are completely hard capped by frame rate. That's how the Stingray engine works. It is a completely CPU-dependent system, but it uses frame data to control internal simulation clocks to do with how the AI director can essentially budget to use your CPU resources. He can only do a certain amount of things per frame. So, for example, with the enemy recycler app, he can only assign 6 enemies per frame to be deleted or moved. There are hundreds of enemies seeded on a map, by the way, and sometimes 70, 80, 100 need to be deleted. You can have, on a good high-end PC, you can have about 120, 100, 120 active enemies at one time. I mean, when I say active, I don't mean like physically rendered on your screen, but I mean like they are considered active in the sense that they're physically close enough within your proximity that they can be activated and pulled into that combat. This is one of the reasons why at low FPS, and particularly on potato rigs, the maps are empty. Because it just can't have as many enemies seeded. You don't walk around a corner and be like, oh shit, there's an ad pack there. Like, it's not during a horde anyway. Because it has to clear them. It basically has to empty the map to spawn a horde. And then everything that it's going to respawn back in based off seed. So let's say it deleted an elite pack behind you, right? And so now you get to kite backwards for free from the horde. The elite pack's just gone. It's literally gone. But now you kill the horde, right? Now what should happen is the game should go, oh, okay, wait, I still have that seed. Those elites still technically exist, and I can still kind of use those, let's call it points, right? I can still use those points and I can put that mob down somewhere, right? But the thing is, when your PC, when you have basically queues due to like pathfinding and stuff, all of that stuff ends up queued as well. So you end up with like, it's like, oh, okay, yes, I have to replace those 6 elites, but first I need to clear these queues for the 700 pathfinding requests that I have that can only be done over the, that it's going to take 60 frames to process all of that, and the game is running at 30 frames. Like, now it's like, oh, okay, so now we'll put some elites back behind you, but by the time they come down, you're gone, you've left. And then the game's like, oh, now these are basically dead enemies behind you, they need to be recycled again, let's recycle again. Like, it just spends so long shuffling crap around, and all of those things interfere with what are known as clamps, or the clamp system, which basically determines the number of maximum enemies, the maximum number of active AI entities that can exist at any one time. Now, different types of AI entities take up more space within the system, and so on and so forth. So like you can't have like 120 enemies and one of them is a rat ogre necessarily. Like, it might be like 100 enemies and one of them is a rat, or something like that. because bigger enemies require more rendering resources and more demand more AI resources from the director and blah 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 blah. So there are very much hard cap limits on what can just exist and you can be in combat with at any one time or be interacting with at any one time. Very much hard capped, very much hardware dependent. The game is potato at on low settings. I mean, there are just no enemies. Like, yes, you will roughly kill the same amount of enemies during, say, let's say a horde event, but they come so slowly, you kill them so few at a time, you generate so little intensity doing it, they pull so little ads because the ads just don't even exist on the map, or they're unseeded, or they've been removed or recycled to make space for the horde or make space for pathing queues, blah, 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 blah. It's just comical. There's no challenge to it. Like, it's not even... Well, it's not that, but it's not as hard. It's just not as hard. Anyway. We'll try this one more time. I gotta put my glasses back on and we'll give it a shot. As I say, I will always play Vermintide, no matter how much the game pisses me off, no matter how much... If you play shooter games, I am telling you, 100%, this game is the single best way to train yourself to be a better FPS player. I know for a fact, because I went from being an absolute potato, disgusting potato, like the kind of person who like could literally play an entire round of Overwatch and not get a kill. Not one, but have 7 deaths and not a single kill. That was not even, like, that wasn't just like one record bad game. That was normal for me at one point. Normal. I went from that to what you see now, and what you're seeing now is in Vermintide. This is not the kind of game that I play to like basically I don't play Vermintide to win, I play Vermintide to get my mechanics better. I like winning. I'm a competitive person. I hate losing. I hate putting all my effort into something and then just losing anyway. It's crushing. It crushes my soul and I hate it. But I like winning because I hate losing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's like the height of the peak is only as high as it is because of the depth of the valley, you know? Because of the misery that losing causes me. Because of the, like, it's not just losing, okay? Look, I don't care about just getting crushed. What destroys me is just that sense of like, oh my god, the rats are actually just better than me. Like, they're smarter than me. They're juking my hits. They're avoiding my crosshair. I can't get my crosshair on them. I can't hit the shots I need to hit. I don't know where they are. They're always outside of my LOS. Like, that feeling. That feeling is so crushing. But when you can exceed it... Yeah. Hold on. But yeah, when you can exceed that, it's crazy dopamine. Anyway, we've gotten basically no loot, and I've eaten so much damage because I've been babbling like an idiot. We also haven't had a horde yet, so we might actually just go down here and wait. Yeah, here we go. This is not a bad place. See how baby this horde is? So this is because I just kind of like let my bots do everything after taking a little bit of damage, and the bots kill so slowly that like there's no intensity. As I said, as intensity raises, enemy animations actually physically get faster. Enemies move and walk faster, so hordes will path to you faster. But the thing is, this is also, it's like, what's the point of having a fast car with no driver? Right? It's like, oh, well, the car can, in theory, complete this circuit in, I don't know, let's say 25 seconds, but without a driver, it literally just sits there. It doesn't matter how fast your rats can run if your AI director is bottlenecked giving them pathing information. So, intensity peaks just don't mean anything at low FPS. I mean, they do, but they don't mean as much.
It's going to explode!
But you can see, like, when I manage to get a horde at low intensity, even at high FPS, the horde will actually be kind of like patchy in baby mode. Because even though my rats can run very fast, and even though my rats have efficient pathing, the physical speed can still just be slower. So it just physically takes them longer to like get to the wall and then climb the wall. And also, because at lower intensity, there is a bigger gap between the spawning of like individual units. The operator isn't just dumping everything he can. Okay.
An immolated foe for every scratch, I swear. Baldrick's Blightstorm is dead.
God, this crossbow, I need to look at my build. This thing is like shooting blanks. I can't even ping them. I don't even know where they are. I'm pinging the entire arena. They're so far.
One less Blightstormer.
It's like I literally have to let the bots kill specials. I never see them. I don't get to interact with them. They're so good at checking my LOS and staying out of my LOS. Oh my god. And an assassin, of course.
You stink stronger than you try. My grandmother hits harder than that. Over here. Easy picking for you. Only a door. Big rats.
My bots are literally running behind me. They're trying to get me killed at this point. He waits for the res. He literally waits for the res.
Watch the shadows.
Well, at least I can use the fucking lifting platform, huh? That's something.
Even you can't keep fighting forever, Pardon.
Throwing a bomb. Side. Storm vermin.
A wolf fire thrower. We need to kill it.
By Sigmar and the hammer. I judge you all. Bring the laddie. I'm a big bang up.
One more blow, Pardon. There'll be bits of you everywhere. No, but over. The Blight Stormer!
Well, that was needed.
Dead Gaslight.
Kill the madman! Follow me! Healing draft. Don't squander it. We've got the assassin! Storm vermin!
But yeah, having bots die is actually helpful because like not having them downed is not helpful. You actually want to let your bots die if they get downed on Kata. On Legend, it's not as big a deal, but even on Legend, if you really want to like make the game as easy as possible, like you kind of always want one bot dead. It will make the game considerably easier. Where did he come from? The roof, maybe? I'm just literally not allowed to interact with it. But yeah, I'm not really expecting to win this Kato with bots, especially playing, early in the morning. And while trying to like babble about the map, but as I say, watching me fail could be helpful, At least, because you've seen me win it. You've seen me win it easily on Legend, and now you're going to see me fail it a bunch on like just cranking it up one difficulty. The difference is enormous.
Mind the shielded ones!
Here we go again.
Oi! Over here! Go on! Hit me harder! Go on! Again! I can take it! Backstab a loop nearby. Stay alert. Got a lot of girls. Field bearers incoming. What's going on? You'll never be as good as us three.
Oh, we aggroed the elite somehow?
Through the door. These stairs. Make haste. Healing draft.
I didn't show that there's often loot up here. And in the next house, there's a spot you can go to get loot as well.
Shield vermin. Watch out.
Plague monks.
You stink stronger than you try. Still here? Take a swing. Slay it.
I'll not have another one of those.
But yeah, 90% of like the high level metas for this game at supposedly high level content just literally do not function at 120 FPS. Because most of it has to do with manipulating spawns by friendly fire. Which is to say, manipulating the tightness of the spawns by maintaining extremely low intensity. By letting enemies kill each other and then like kiting stuff around and then just sort of keeping it alive and toying with it for as long as possible. Like, you actually want to kill the horde as slowly as possible, which is naturally going to happen faster anyway with worse pathing, because hordes don't, like, enemies do not have the same density, but the two things essentially like feed into each other, because higher density means more frequent intensity spikes, which means hyper density. Which means you go from having high density to literal hyper density that just destroys you. Whereas at low FPS, it's basically, the game at high intensity is basically about as hard as the game is at, like, you know, kind of mid intensity for anyone else. Aside from the like the added mechanical challenge of controlling your character when they're moving at a higher pace, but the added mechanical challenge of having to actually hit the enemies basically doesn't exist, because at 60 FPS there is no mechanical challenge in hitting enemies. Aside from just, like, you know, completely silent.
A blight stormer. The air thickens with filth. Someone help! We'll take it, Baldy.
So much for the blight storm.
There were two of them.
Gas rat's going to explode. By the eight, we've lost Bardi. This
Where?
is happening.
It's going to blow. Listen. Hook that! Strike it down!
And that is Mess's end.
Like, do you notice in this game, whenever, like, when you play a high FPS, whenever a special actually does do anything out in the open, they cluster behind other hitboxes. So even if there's literally nothing on the map but two specials, they'll be basically holding hands and covering each other with their hitboxes, so that one will protect the other, and, you know, one will give the other a chance to do something before. Like, it's genuinely like the enemies are that much smarter. And that's to say nothing about them, like, generally being 1,000 times better at just, like, LOSing you around terrain and stuff. But the point is, even when there's no terrain for them to LOS you, their more frequent LOS checks still make them more dangerous, because they will LOS you using other enemy hitboxes, which is actually... Which is actually more dangerous, because you can actually cleave through walls. Like, terrain in this game is just a visual obstruction. Hitboxes actually obstruct your ability to cleave and do damage. Actually, you know what, let's just leave it. So one of the other things is that enemies try to basically not die. Important enemies, I mean, like specials, elites, bosses, and so on, will actually, like, they prioritize, like, not bosses, not so much because they have such huge health pools, but enemies prioritize not taking damage over doing damage for the most part, except during intensity peaks. And the thing is that what happens is the enemies basically are very good at just kind of like covering each other and not dying, so they get a chance to stack up. And then when they're stacked up in big numbers and you're forced to kill a bunch of them, or just because you take damage, get kills consistently, whatever, you get an intensity peak, and now instead of there being just like 4 trash... I mean, it's just a conga line where they're just fully protected by each other's hitboxes, and there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I did also miss the headshot on the leech. That's my problem, but... But as I say, so what happens is enemies actually tend to stack up without being suicidal. Like, they're not suicidal until they're stacked up and you've taken damage or something bad has happened, and then they become suicidal. Okay, that guy just comes and protects him, sure.
It's going to blow. That's all.
Oh no. Okay. I legitimately just could not kill that leech. He was too fucking good at just appearing behind stuff that would soak damage for him. And again, these are things that, I'm sorry, they just don't happen at 60 FPS. You're literally playing the game on baby mode. And I've done it and I've shown it to you. I've literally shown it to you with my gameplay. And I will do it in future. And when I'm in the mood, I will go do like Legend True Solos and literally just copy what people like telepots do, and you'll see it will just work for me at 60 FPS. At 120 it won't. At 120 I'll get utterly fucking destroyed. But at 60 I'll literally just play like telepots because I know mechanically I can play like telepots. I can play like Choco. It's literally just a question of practice and learning positioning and pathing. But in terms of like mechanics, can I hit the shots they hit at 60 FPS? Yeah, of course. Easy, to be honest. Like, I don't even think they're that good, to be completely honest. But like, you know, look, I come from like a PvP background, okay? So, you know, okay, like the last person that I was interested in actually 1v1ing in a deathmatch was a champion level Overwatch player who had made $5,000 in tournaments. An actual money-making pro gamer who shot on me, but at one point I was level with him for kills. We were 7-7 at one point. He shot on me, mostly because I was inting into his crosshair, but he still shot on me. But you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the kind of people that are like mechanically better than me. People that legitimately make thousands of dollars off their careers and mechanics. Like, so you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not gonna like sit here and pretend that like I can't hit shots and I'm bad at the game and that I don't know like how to like click on things because I know how to click. You know what I'm saying? Like mechanically, mechanics are simple. It's like the mechanical challenges occur when you are talking about like, okay, do I have to headshot someone who is micro peeking me that I can barely see and they're only going to be there for a half a second and I have to do it during some high stress situation where there are actually like lots of things in front of me that I would tend to be tunnel visioned on in terms of like I'm mechanically tunnel visioned on them. And now I have a quarter of a second to, let's say, kill a gas rat, but it has to be a headshot and he's only going to peek me between terrain for like 2 seconds. Like, those are the shots that are actually like impressive and mechanical. Like, those are the kind of things that are like legitimately crack gamers make. Like, when you actually watch the people who play this game like at a high level, like there's someone who does solos that are supposed to be on like Death Wish, and you can go look at their runs, and it's literally like it looks like Champion in terms of like the enemy density. It looks like Champion on a real PC. It's still modded difficulty, so enemies still have outrageous like stagger resistance and disgustingly massive health pools and so on and so forth. But like, what kills you in this game again is running out of space. More enemies, even more weaker enemies, are almost always a greater threat than a smaller number of more dangerous enemies. Like, a single Kata Deathwish Chaos Warrior is less dangerous, I'm telling you now, is less mechanically challenging to fight, assuming your build is up to the job, assuming you're not just like trying to go in with like a build that has zero super armor damage, like, you know, zero stagger, like completely nothing going for it, no ability to actually kill the Kesra. But like, assuming that, like, it is mechanically vastly more challenging, pardon me, to fight 2 Chaos Warriors than 1, even if they are champion Chaos Warriors, especially at 120 FPS, because what will happen is they will use each other's hitboxes to protect them from hits and staggers. They will also use each other's hitboxes to literally LOS you as they prepare attacks. There will be attacks that will hit you that you will only see like 4 frames of because it comes through the other hitbox. And then even you couldn't stagger it anyway because the other hitbox is a stagger cleave stop that's preventing you, or it's reducing your stagger to the point where you can't. So mechanically speaking, keeping track of 2 enemies at the same time, and 2 especially complex enemies like elites, and fighting 2 complex enemies at the same time is more than twice as hard as fighting one of them. Fighting one is a joke, right? So fewer harder enemies does not make the game harder. It just doesn't. If anything, it would make the game easier. Like if you could give me, again, I'm telling you, and I'll do this at some point. I'll even install modded, and we'll just like, because you can potato your system if you want. You can make the game so much easier than I make it by just lowering FPS. If you just go to your video settings and basically crank up everything that requires CPU resources, and then put your frame rate at like 60, and then go to your launcher and give yourself a suboptimal number of worker threads, so you're throttling your CPU even more, like so you're essentially like reducing this even more the CPU resources that your PC can handle, and then you come back into this game and you load it up and you load all the back-end processes at a high FPS, and then lower the FPS again. Like, so this is the other thing, is that I'm also very convinced that basically certain back-end processes that are loaded in basically when you do this. Like for the first time, when you've gotten to this screen, that main menu screen, your back-end processes have loaded in, and I have a funny feeling that certain processes, particularly the enemy recycler, essentially are only looking at your frame rate on startup. Like when they are loaded in, they check your frame rate. And that, as far as they're concerned, even if you change your frame rate after that, unless you reload the process, I'm fairly certain that it will consider the frame rate to be lower. But so raising your frame rate first and making it think that it has more frames and then lowering it, actually, I'm 100% convinced that this even worse bottlenecks your, very specifically, the enemy recycler process. I could be wrong. I'm going to do some testing, but even if it doesn't matter. As I say, the simple fact is, the more you tax your CPU at lower frames, the more bottlenecking you will get. If you get even 10 frames worth of drop at 30 FPS, like, okay, let me put it this way. If you need to basically be above 90 frames for your enemies to be smart. For your enemies to have fast reaction times, good pathing, like really, really good pathing and fast reaction times and so on. You need to be, that is the critical cutoff point, 90 frames. Below 90, the dumber they get. Every frame you drop below 90, the dumber they get. At about 60 FPS, you start to fuck with your game's ability to use the enemy recycler app like far more critically. And again, every frame you drop, the worse it gets. Now, if you drop 1 frame at 120 FPS, statistically, that is nothing. Your game does not care. If you drop 1 frame at 30 FPS, that is actually meaningful. That is legitimately, well, maybe not 1, but let's say 10. Okay, 10 versus 10. 10 frames at 30 FPS is a third of your frame rate. That's literally strangling a third of your already completely bottlenecked CPU's capacity to actually do shit. So again, if you can actually, like, if you want the game to be easy, then you want whenever big effects, whenever big enemies, whenever lots of rendering is happening, particle effects, sun, all that sort of stuff. Like, we even saw that a little bit when I was out in the sunshine. I was only getting 80 FPS because even though my GPU can basically like load an entire map's worth of enemies and render them in like 2 seconds, this game doesn't give a fuck about your GPU. Like, the GPU is not what causes bottlenecks. So that's irrelevant. The only thing that matters, the only thing that's actually legitimately taxing your game in this game is the AI director. That's the only, like, but you, as I say, you can, but if you really, really overload, you can make it even easier still. And then, as I say, and then if you further choke your PC by assigning too few worker threads, or, I mean, you wouldn't want to assign too many because that's going to make your game unstable. But assigning too few, and then putting your frame rate down to 60, and then cranking up every CPU-dependent system in the game, you will literally turn your game into baby mode game. Like, I mean, a rat will actually just stand behind you for like 2 seconds and do nothing before attacking you. If a rat climbs a ledge, like, this is already noticeable from 120 to 60, literally just changing your frame rate from 120 to 60. These are visibly noticeable differences in the way enemies behave. There is massive delay between every state change. So if an enemy climbs a ledge and then it needs to start walking towards you, it will climb the ledge, stop, do nothing, and then start walking towards you. Again, I want to point out to you, there are whole ass metas in high level Vermintide that literally just do not even fucking work at 120 FPS. That's how, like, hobbled this entire, like, the entire, like, community of this game, everything to do with, like, challenge content in this game, everything is, like, just non-existent. Like, there is nothing. The only thing that I would give half a shit about, as far as, like, if you're going to try to, like, tell me that this person is a better player than that person, and here, let me prove it, aside from just analyzing gameplay side by side and just looking at, like, their raw mechanics and how they deal with specific situations, not, can I complete this mission? Can I complete that mission? Because that difficulty is completely fucking adaptive. It is so dependent on your hardware. It is so dependent on your frame rate of various settings. But the only thing I would personally take with anything less than a grain of salt, as I say, is something like a Fortunes of War run where the spawns are fixed so that obvious differences in how enemies behave and path will be even more apparent. That's the only reason I would look at it. Because if, let's say someone, is saying, like, oh, look, I'm going to prove how great I am at this game, but I'm going to post this me soloing Kata Fortunes of War. Okay, sure. But, like, that's great. That's, like, I can't do it. I couldn't solo champion Fortunes of War. I don't even know the map. I don't know the spawns. I will learn it someday, but not today. But the point is, I couldn't do it on champion. So, amazing. But let's say one person's doing it on Kata, and the Storm Vermin take 7 seconds to arrive, and the other person's doing it and they take 4 seconds. I know who's having a harder time. If one person does it and elites are walking around in the open, and the other person does it and the elites are all taking Valorant angles and micro-peeking and peeking from outside LOS and so on and so forth, again, it's not even the same game at that point. So even in something like Fortunes of War, where you have fixed spawns, enemy AI still makes a massive difference to the overall difficulty, particularly in terms of, like, how mechanically challenging the game is, and also how positionally challenging the game is. But the biggest thing, as I say, in frame rate is literally just that. You can't kite for shit because enemies, like, so one of the tricks that high level players use to kite in this game is to force enemies into a climb animation, because the climb animation is slow and it gives you time to get away from them. Okay? Do you know what happens if you do that at 120 FPS? They climb, you get a little bit of space from them, and then you know what happens? They immediately, either, if you're close enough, they will use a running attack to get back get back into combat. If they're still technically slotted in with you, they may immediately use a running attack, or they will use their run animation, which, when you play at 60 FPS, you could be forgiven for thinking that enemies don't even fucking have a run animation because you never see it. But at 120, you see it constantly. They will literally use their run animation, which makes them almost twice as fast as you, to just instantly catch up to you. You can't kite for shit at 120 FPS. You have to kite while killing. You can only kite with movement abilities and hard staggers and things like that, where like you stagger everyone with an ult and then you run back. But the enemies aren't on you. They're not just going to mill around stupidly like they do at low FPS. You can't just like infinitely juke Chaos Warriors around one staircase. Like they will actually take alternative paths, full surround you, and yes, even try to corner you. Like the game is completely different at 120 FPS. I'm telling you, everything that high level players use and do is bullshit and doesn't work. Unless you lower your frame rate. I'm just like telling you this for a fact, and I can literally show you it happening. As I say, rats do not die by their hundreds to gas, so you cannot manipulate intensity. Blights, storms actually chase you. Gas actually gets thrown at your location where you currently are, not where you were 3 seconds ago. Gas rats do not peek you. You cannot just kill them and instantly get rid of them whenever you don't want them anymore. Blightstormers are the same. Storms actually chase you with up-to-date information about where you are. The storm itself is cast on you within the AoE, but the stormer doesn't actually have to peek you to do that. He doesn't actually have to give you LOS on him. He will basically essentially storm you around a corner. The storm chases you. The rats do not walk into the storm. Elites might, but you know what happens? It throws elites all over the map, and then they pull in ambient aggro. Because there are actually ambients on your map, because at 120 FPS, your game's enemy recycler actually works. So there are like there's stuff on the map even during a horde event, even when there's monsters and so on and so forth. You can't just kite freely all over the map wherever you want and assume that everything is going to be empty and safe. It's not empty. It's not safe. Shit will literally be teleported behind you. I'm not joking. I've seen it happen. I have video of it happening. Like, it's not even the same game. I know this because I have 500 hours of trying to use the same strategies that I learned to play the game for the first 1,000 hours that just stopped fucking working. And it took me so long to figure out what was going on. And I spent so long gaslighting myself and sitting to myself and saying, oh, but look at these gods who can solo kata. I must just be shit at the game. They just know the trick to make gas rats kill other rats. What's the trick? This was what started me learning about this, because I was like, okay, well, gas rats kill rats for them. Blightstormers go, is there a trick to it? Is there some trick? I went around to forums. I started asking people. I started looking for how do you get a gas rat to kill enemies? No one can answer the question. They either just do it or they don't. You don't have any control over it. There's some elements of like good positioning, chokes, etc., etc. But either your rats walk into gas or they don't. And do you know what changes whether or not your rats walk into gas? Changing your FPS. It's literally that simple. That's just gas. It's, as I say, it's also Blightstormers. It's also whether or not things peek you. It's also Ratlings. It's literally every source of friendly fire, even a monster's swings. Like, a monster will kill Horde for you if you just block and dodge away from it. Because the Horde rats will constantly be jumping in front of the monster and getting smashed. They don't do that at high FPS. They stay behind the monster. They actually form a kind of conga line behind the monster's hitbox where you are cleave stopped so they can launch constant attacks at you that can't be staggered. Like I'm saying, it just doesn't work. It literally just doesn't. And as I say, I have 1,000 and almost 600 hours now of playing one way and playing the other way. And this is all me trying to figure out, okay, is this just me being bad? No. Okay, all right. So there is no magic way to make gas rats kill the Horde. All right, why don't gas rats kill my Horde? I went and I researched it. I found the fucking answer. Like, it's not that these people are just gods and better than you. And certainly not that they're just, oh, well, they're just gods and better than me. No, I'm telling you, 100%. You can see the visual evidence that the game is potato, and you can effortlessly replicate it and get the same potato gameplay on your game by literally just changing 1 or 2 settings. And you can infinitely magnify it if you so choose. Like, the extent to which you can pretend to be playing hard content on this game while actually secretly making it easy without having to use a single mod or anything is insane. I don't think anyone does that deliberately. I think what actually happens is, because again, these guys are mechanically talented players. These are very good players. And even playing like something like a legend, even a champion true solo at 60 FPS is no joke. because you need to be locked like you can't make one mistake. That's the whole point. And it's like 20 minutes of pretty fucking intense gameplay, even at champion, without you being allowed to make one mistake. I mean, at least when dealing with disablers. But, you know, even you can't make one mistake with getting hit by an overhead. You can't make one mistake with getting cornered by a monster. You can't make one mistake with getting cornered by a horde. You can't make one, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying it's easy, okay? I'm kind of ranting a little bit and I'm saying shit that I probably shouldn't say, being a little bit kind of like dismissive, I guess, about other people's skills. And I shouldn't. But as I say, it's more just a frustration because of what I have seen and because of the extent to which basically I beat myself up for not being able to do what they can do. And because I am a competitive gamer, right? And I want to use my failures to drive me to get better, I tend to default towards saying, no, it must be me. The problem must be me. Because as I say, you don't understand how easy, like you probably do, but it's so easy to gaslight yourself in gaming, to think, well, it's all different for me. It's all for me. You know what I'm saying? Like there are people who can't get out of bronze 5 in Overwatch who genuinely believe that it's just specifically their teammates, not anyone else. Everyone who gets out of bronze 5 has good teammates. It's just specifically the game has a conspiracy against them and is secretly somehow rigging it. Like these are things that people genuinely believe because they can't tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't understand fully what they're not doing and what other people are doing. I don't ever want to be in that like Dunning-Kruger state. Do you see what I'm saying? So I will default towards saying, no, I must just be bad. Okay, what are my skill issues? What can I improve? What can I get better at? So I study the gameplay of people who are better than me and I say, okay, what do they do? I need to figure this out. Then you try it. Then you say, well, it doesn't work for me. Well, obviously it doesn't work for me. I haven't been doing it for 1,000 hours. Well, now I've been doing it for 200 hours. It kind of still doesn't work for me. Do you see what I'm saying? And then you start wondering, well, do I need to aim train more? Is this a mechanical bottleneck? Is it the issue that I think I'm doing the right things, but then I make really bad decisions that I don't actually like self-reflect on? And I know for a fact that I do that. I play well for like good stretches, and then I just run forward like an animal and get crushed. But when I do that, I know it's happening. Do you see what I'm saying? When I genuinely, seriously want to win, I don't play like that, and it doesn't make that much difference. Usually I lose either because of a mechanical failing to do something that was either literally mechanically impossible in the sense that I was aim punched, I was hard CC, it was physically impossible to hit the shot. So usually I lose because of that, or, when I'm genuinely trying to win, or I lose because I'm just drowned in high intensity elites that just suicide and hit trade until I die. So one or the other of those two things happen. Sometimes I lose because I don't hit a shot that I think it should be hittable. Like I don't hit a head shot on a Blightstormer that realistically I could have hit. Sometimes that happens. More often than not, I'm losing to things that just do not happen in their games. Like I've never seen these players exceed the situations that I have to sometimes exceed. Do you see what I'm saying? So right off the bat, I'm thinking like, okay, well, is this just that like I'm only seeing the runs where they win? I'm only seeing that. So I start looking at runs where people lose, and I'm seeing like runs where it's like, oh, this guy just lost because like he got pincered between like 3 plague monks and like a trash mob. Like just randomly, like he didn't see the ads and they just jumped him, and you know what I'm saying? Like they're dying to stuff that, to be honest, I wouldn't die to. Like as I said, you have seen me solo 16 plague monks in seconds. It's been done. It's on video. Fort Braxenberger was literally the first fight I had on that map, 16 plague monks. I took damage. I don't know anyone who would kill 16 plague monks without taking damage. You're almost guaranteed to get an intensity spike, by the way, during a fight with 16 plague monks, which means that your animation speeds are going to change mid-fucking fight. So, again, you want to talk about why this game is mechanically insane is because of things like that. Like Plague Monks are already crazy fast. Now it's like the animation speeds are faster, your animation speeds are faster. Like, do you see what I'm saying? So like, regardless, whatever else this game is, no matter what its problems are, I will always play it purely because at high FPS, as I say, this game, FPS wise, is the single best way to train your mechanics and make yourself into like just a fucking creature of war. Like if you just want to go into some PvP game and just kill everything and just be an absolute demon, like play 1,000 hours of 120 FPS Vermintide. It will turn you into a demon. And lose a lot as well. That's the other thing. Like you have to, and this is the thing that will crush you, right? Because like you must play on difficulties where you're not winning. It's not good enough to just do like Legend with bots and win 90% of your runs. Like you have to be losing a lot because every single time you lose to something that can be beaten, that's not just like a anvil being dropped on your head, it's like you get another inch on it. Do you see what I'm saying? You just, every time you get just, you almost hit that shot. Okay, next time I get the Blightstorm. Next time you actually probably will get the Blightstorm. Then another Blightstorm will teleport and kill you. But do you see what I'm saying? It's like this game as an aim trainer, because here's the thing. When you Kovacs, it's just you and a target. That's it. Who cares? Like, you die in games because of things like tunnel vision, because of things like lack of awareness, because of things like your eyes are tracking a head that is in front of you. All of your focus is on that head. You are not going to hit that head. If you are not, you actually, visibly using your eyeballs to track the head on your monitor screen. Like if your game had eye tracking, you would see it. You're not going to hit those shots if you don't do that. But if you do that, that means you will tunnel vision on it. Now there's a sniper, you don't see them, bomb, you know what I'm saying? Those are the situations that will fuck you when you're trying to aim. So the best aim trainer is an aim trainer like Vermintide, where it is constantly throwing shit at you, where there is noise, where there is distraction, where there is pressure, where you can't just sit with your gun out and just blast everything for free, where you have to constantly be switching back, moving, fighting in melee, then shoot, then, you know what I'm saying? This is the best aim trainer you will ever play, ever. And no matter what else about this game, whatever happens, I will always play this game. And I recommend that if you want to get good at FPS games, I recommend you play this game and let it kick your ass. Play at 120 FPS, get shit on. And then you know what is going to happen? Later on today, I'm going to jump on Marvel Rivals or something, and I am going to just kill everyone. And that's going to make me feel a lot better. And they're going to be real people. And it's way more fun to shoot someone in the head when you know for a fact that they are having an emotional reaction to it. And you're possibly even causing them a mental health crisis. I'm a bad person in PvP games, okay? I'm just going to admit it. I do all the horrible shit. I spawn camp, I flank, I'm a bastard, and I love it. But it's like, look, I play against bots all the time. Bots don't suffer when you kill them. Part of the fun of humans is imagining their suffering when you're beating them. Because you have to suffer when they're beating you, okay? So it's only fair. But, again, I promise you want to get good at something like a hero shooter, a high movement shooter, even something like Valorant. Actually, this game would be amazing training for Valorant as well, because this game's crosshairs are so, like, movement sensitive in terms of, like, so your whole aim style is exactly like it is in Valorant, where it's like move, shoot, hold angle. Like, do you see what I'm saying? So this game would be amazing training for Valorant. Maybe not so much like CS, but definitely for something like Overwatch or even Rivals, because those games have such like bouncy, weightless kind of physics. The physics in this game are some of the most, like, enemy physics, are some of the most weightless in any game I've ever seen. Like, enemy hitboxes are just, like, made of paper. They go wherever they want. Like, assassins are basically just, like, leaves blowing in the wind. They just float all over the map wherever they want to be. They pretty much just fly. They have no mass.
I need a distraction, and you're just the fellows to make it for me. Ring out them bells, as me mother used to say.
I've almost been streaming for 3 hours. I need to show some more gameplay. I don't want to just end the stream with 20 minutes of yapping. So I'm just going to run forward basically until I die, and then, yeah. But as I say, look, I don't want to talk bad about like people who stream tired games because, as I say, they taught me how to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. Without them, I never learned. So there's that. I owe them for that. I mean, look, they're making. You know what I'm saying? But like from my perspective, that's how I see it. And also, I'm not trying to say that they're bad gamers. I don't know. Maybe if they would have, maybe they come to 1v1 me and wipe my out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe they're 1,000 times better than me at everything. Maybe they have a larger penis than me. I don't know. Maybe they make more money than me. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not about like who's better, who's worse. It's about my frustration of watching gameplay and then finding it unreplicable because my game, for some reason, seemed to be just magically harder. And when I say magically hard, I mean not in the sense of like, okay, pretty sure I pushed, but
Slay that rock shield for Sigma! Sequence luck, hold your breath!
alright. Let's actually just let the bots finish up this trash wave so we don't generate too much intensity. It's like you just don't get to interact with gas rats at 120 FPS. There's just gas on you. That's all. It just happens. It just falls out of the sky, basically. But yeah, so one of the reasons why it started frustrating me and I stopped believing like my own self-gaslighting was because of things that were just like, you know, I can literally put this on video. Like, I can show you video of like me firebombing a patrol in a choke and of a streamer, I won't, as I say, I won't name any names, but I can show you a streamer firebombs a patrol in a choke, and the choke just stands there, the stream just stands in the fire and dies. The whole patrol. I can show you me firebombing the same patrol on the same map, and they will climb up a wall to get out of the fire. In the same choke. In the same map. Like, you know, when I got to the point where I actually had things like that on video and was like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. This is literally different. Like, the game just don't work the same. Like, it ain't working right. Like, we are legitimately just not playing by the same rules anymore. And I started realizing that, and I started exploring it and looking into it. And as I say, the more you look into it, the deeper and deeper it gets, and the more you realize how just basically fucked this game is. But, so it's not really that the game gets easy. It's like, okay, let me put it this way. It's not that the game gets easier on a bad PC, though it does, to some extent. It's more that, like, okay, let me put it this way. Yeah, it's not that the
Here come the wizards.
as I say, it's that frustration of feeling like I'm playing the same game by different rules, and of like, I mean, look, what am I supposed to do? But yeah, again, like, if you look at that, I don't know, man. It just, when I started asking on forums, like, so I was like, you know, how, like, I would say to people like, how come, you know, when I do this map, I kill 700 people, even though I'm killing it in 20 minutes? And when this guy does this map, he kills 400 people, even though he's doing the map in 20 minutes. So I would have a situation like that, and I'd be like, so how come that? And people would be like, oh, it's just because you're bad at the game. And it's like, hold on, I'm killing more people in less time, in the same time, and completing the map. And they, oh, because you're inefficient. You're giving more time for something. I'm completing it in the same time. I can complete a mission in the same time as a true solo player. In fact, I can complete it faster with bots and still kill more than them. Like, I can legitimately, there are some missions in this game that, like, without using speedrunning exploits or whatever, that, like, at least on Legend with bots, I can run the mission in, like, you know, 16, 17 minutes. Like, several minutes faster than the best players can run them. I mean, sincerely running them, not using skips and teleports and stuff like that, as a true solo. And yet, even though I'm minutes faster, I kill more shit. And that's just my stats. My bots also have kills. Very, very few when I'm playing that well, but still kills. Still, like, you know, 300 trash kills between them, maybe 15 specials, you know, maybe like 25 elites or something, like between them all collectively. And it's just like, why is that? And people were trying to tell me that, like, it's because you're bad at the game. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. You're saying the game is harder because I'm bad at the game. Isn't it more that I'm struggling because the game is harder? But then it's like, oh, no, you don't know how to manipulate spawns. I'm like, well, how do you manipulate spawns? And no one could tell me. No one could give me an answer, aside from use gas rats to kill hordes. I'm like, okay, but hordes don't walk into gas when I play the game, so I can't do that. How do I use them? And they, we just use them. You just leave them alive. I'm like, but I can't leave them alive because they actually throw gas at me, and the gas damages me. And then the gas makes a big cloud that blinds me that other specials then use. Do you see what I'm saying? And enemies don't walk into the gas. They wait on the outside of the gas, or they path around the gas, which means they take up more space. They pull in more ambience. So I can't actually leave gas rats alive. Do you see? So, but like, people would still be like, you know, oh, I don't know, man, you must just be doing something wrong or whatever. And it was like, okay, I don't fucking know, man. Like, you know, gamers do be stupid. That's all I can say. It's like, if you just visually can't tell the difference by looking at the gameplay, you must be very bad at this game. If you can't just tell the difference in feeling the difference in your gameplay, I don't know what to tell you, man. I I genuinely don't know what to tell you. I can just put my crosshair on an enemy's head at 60 FPS and just leave it there, and they just don't care. Maybe after a second, they will move once. Like, it's genuinely that much of a joke. At 120, it's instant. They immediately start reading your crosshair and reacting to it. And when enemies are mechanically harder to kill, specifically ads, it really fucks your progression of the map, your ability to play the map. I cannot play a true solo map and copy someone's positioning, even if I have, like, because the players that are known for true soloing will like, they're not just like trying to complete true solos, they're doing them with like any combination of like weapons and all different kind of builds and stuff like that. So it's like they can have a build with like no horde clear, no boss damage, like literally like basically nothing, and just like it just works. And like I will try to do the same positions that they use for that build with a build that actually is way stronger, and it just doesn't work. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, they stand in this choke point and just kill a horde without having to take a step back. And they do that with like a weapon that doesn't even have much, like one-handed elf sword or something. Now it's like I will stand in that same choke point as like some insanely like, you know, horde blendering frontliner like Slayer or Mercenary Crew or something, and I cannot hold that choke point. Same difficulty, same map, same positioning, same horde spawn, same time stamp. Like, it took us roughly the same time to physically get there. Roughly the same number of ads killed on the way, but it's literally just like their horde arrives like, you know, 6 enemies at a time in 3 very distinct and separate waves. Mine is dropped on my head instantly. Like, when their horde flanks them, they have time to kill the first wave before turning around and killing the second wave. My 3 waves just collapse on me instantly. Like, it's literally not even the same game. You cannot play it the same way. This is what I'm trying to get across, in the sense of like, because people tell you that like, oh, well, doing all this hard content, that Vermintide, it's solved meta, that it's a game like Warframe or something, where it's like, it's just a matter of like copying what other people do and then succeeding. And this is what I'm trying to get across, is that like, I am sorry, on a modern PC at 120 FPS, there is no solved meta for Vermintide. If you know someone who true solos on those settings, and who you know for a fact is not deliberately like throttling or bottlenecking their game, and you can show me their gameplay, and I do know 1 or 2 people who do this, and these are people who legitimately have like 5,000 hours in the game and are like, you know, and even then they lose most of their runs. Like, you know, even on the easiest maps. Like, ain't no one who plays on settings doing stuff like Return to Reich, True Solo, at 120 FPS on a modern PC. Like, people can barely do Into the Nest. Barely. On Shade. The easiest character, the most overpowered solo character in the game, and they can barely do it. And there are other people out there that are supposedly doing modded difficulty true solos on like pickaxe ranger vet with a shotgun. Like, I'm sorry, that's not real. That's fake. And it's visibly and blatantly obvious if you actually play Vermintide to just look at the gameplay and watch a supposedly Kata 3 Deathwish horde that's literally just like a stream of 30 Rotblood trash units with a couple of shields. And you're just sitting here like, my game is harder than this on Legend. And this is supposedly modded difficulty Kata 3 Deathwish. And it's just like, no, it fucking ain't. Like, I would not be surprised if it's just not even Kata 3. Like, if it's just literally the person playing on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's that bad. But it could genuinely be Kata 3. And as I say, it's not that these people are being dishonest. I guarantee you, I know exactly what happens. It's that if you play on a potato PC, this will get boring. All of this will get boring. It's not, because even for me at 60 FPS, like, you get to the point where it's like, at 60 FPS, Legend is literally a joke. Like, you just sleep well. Like, if you have a team, it's a joke. Kata is a joke with a team. It's a literal joke. Like, at 60 FPS. At 60 FPS, soloing Legend, true soloing Legend is still hard. At 60 FPS, true soloing Kata is still very hard. But that's on that's not, like, that's on a PC where you're 60 FPS, yes, but you're not getting, like, consistent frame drop. Your CPU is actually powerful, so it's queuing orders rather than just not doing things. Do you see what I'm, like, the difference? It's like, yes, your CPU is bottlenecked, but, like, it's actually still at that 60 FPS cap. So presumably there are people who are also playing on bad PCs at low frame rates. So it's like they couldn't make use of the 60 frames anyway. So their game is probably, in terms of, like, the AI director speed, is probably running at 20 or 30 frames worth of AI directed data, and that's just because their CPU is not bottlenecked, and that's all their CPU can do. And even if they raise their frames to 120, it wouldn't make any difference. Their CPU is still just so potato that it can't make use of the frames. Like, I suspect that's what you are seeing when you get into situations like that. But once you get past a certain threshold, like basically below 90, enemies are done. Below about 60, and spawning is less efficient, but it's not, like, totally and visibly and obviously broken. It's just pathing and enemy behavior that's, like, totally and visibly obviously broken. But when you actually crank it even lower, like at 30, spawning is broken. The enemy recycler mod app does not fucking work. By the time you get one pack of ambience, like, the only area where you get ambient enemies is basically the first map section. It gets populated with ambience, you kill them, a horde comes. In order to spawn the horde, your game deletes basically every ambient on the map. The horde comes, you kill the horde, and the game takes so long to repopulate the map that, like, it just never gets repopulated. And to the extent that it does, things are populated based on where you were 15 seconds ago. So ads are just being spawned in the Shadow Realm and then having to be unspawned, which is queuing further commands. The game basically just spends the whole time moving ads around and trying to catch up with you. And all of these seeded ads are interfering with, like, your total clamp limit, which is reducing the number of active AI enemies that you have on screen at any one time. Like, the game literally just, if you get FPS low enough, or even if you just have FPS drops at critical moments, like during horde spawns, it completely breaks the AI director. And again, there used to be this belief that this only happened if you were playing the game on, like, a tablet or a mobile phone in terms of, like, data, because people thought it was tied to your CPU. It's not. Your CPU gets choked by frame rate. And even a good CPU can easily get frame drop in Vermintide. And the lower your base frames, the less frame drop you can sustain. The more, and also frame drop bottlenecks your game, because frame drop interferes with your game's ability to actually combat the frame drop. Like, the systems that your game uses to balance performance are tied to your frame rate. So when you see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, so how can it can never actually balance everything. Like, as soon as you start getting frame drop, your game is just broken in terms of the enemy recycler. And as long as you're actually at a low rate, if you're at high frames, it will never drop low enough to the point where it matters that much. But every little bit of frame drop still helps you. I'm not joking. I noticed that at 80 frames. You notice the game gets noticeably easier. Shit just doesn't react to you. It doesn't care that you exist. You can walk up behind rats that are in combat with other stuff and just chop them all to death before they react. Like, just various things like that. The game just becomes magically easier. So every bit of frame drop you get makes the game even easier still. So I don't know, man. This game has crazy adaptive difficulty that is massively hardware dependent. And look, it frustrates me because I don't want people to see me, like, getting crushed on, like, some Kata with bots run and think that, like, I'm a terrible player because they think that Johnny Streamer could come to my house, get on my PC and do that same run true solo. I fucking promise you, I will pay Johnny Streamer $5,000 if he can do that once. Otherwise, he's got to give me $5,000. He gets one try. He can scrim all he wants on his PC, as much as he wants. But he has to come to my house, sit in my gaming chair, do it on my PC with my settings, and I'll literally give him $5,000 in his hand, cash, if he can do it. I know for a fact he can't. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't want. That's my only thing is I don't want people to see me get rolled by something that because the gaming community is just like the gaming community for Vermintide is like everyone pretends that Vermintide is an easy game, and the way they pretend that it is an easy game is by saying, oh well, you can true solo everything. That's you know what I'm saying? That's always the benchmark. Is like, oh yeah, but there are people out there that true solo, Cat of 3, Death Wish, Return to the Right, Twitch mode, blah blah blah. Who? Show me their FPS in the corner of the screen. Show me their settings. You know what I'm saying? Because I visibly watch the games of people who play that sort of high-level content, and the gameplay is boring. It's literally boring. There's nothing on the map. Nothing happens. Everything comes one at a time. And it's not because they are doing anything amazing or genius to manipulate spawns or something. I'm telling you. Like, manipulating spawns is as simple as, like, what I was doing earlier, like, where you just kind of, like, oh, we're just going to kind of leave this stuff alive and kill it slowly. Like, that's about all you can do when you can't rely on enemies to kill each other. But anyway, look, I've been yapping way too much. As I say, I'm just trying to, like, put it out there. Like, that's all I want, basically. I don't want to be judged because I can't do this content or that content or whatever. My goal in this game is not actually to complete content. It's to train my mechanics. You get good mechanical training at high FPS, but it basically makes the game unplayably hard. That's all I'm trying to get across. And I know for a fact that the majority of the people who are doing this like crazy challenge content are just bums. There's a couple who are genuinely crazy. Like, I think I've seen like Tanner Lindbergh's True Solos, for example. But Darktide is a very different game because Darktide is everything is done server side, but also enemies in Darktide are dumb compared to 120 FPS Vermintide enemies. Enemies in Darktide are about as smart as 60 FPS Vermintide enemies. And aside from bombers are pretty good at getting LOS checks. But yeah, most enemies in Darktide are dumb. They don't have movement. They're extremely easy to click their heads. The game is more of like a build and positional challenge. It's more like, can your build not get rolled over by 10 crushes? If yes, then you win. If not, you die. You know what I'm saying? It's more like that. So I'm not a big fan of Darktide because but as I say, there are some of the players in Darktide, I think, particularly people who are like true soloing Havocs and stuff like that. They're animals. There's no question. Like Tanner Lindbergh, for example, is mechanically an animal. And also, he's good at doing things that I'm not good at, like juggling uptimes on buffs and stuff like that. But as I say, so there are people in the community who are like, they're genuinely cracked and they can do crazy hard content. But I am pretty much utterly convinced that most of the challenge content streaming for this game is being done on potatoes. My guess is that most of the people who try it on a good rig essentially get bullied off it and then sort of leave because it crushes their confidence and they think, oh, I must just be terrible at the game because I can't do this no matter how hard I try. And I get destroyed even on the easiest careers. Do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's time for me to wrap this stream out. I've been babbling way too much. Let's end it. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully yapping less and playing more.